Hi guys, we're now going to look at something called nationalisation, and it's something the government did to try and make the economy more stable and to try and create jobs for people. Now, what nationalisation is, it's when instead of a business being owned by a private individual who makes money off it, when you nationalise an industry or a business, it therefore comes under the control of the government instead of being run for profit by one person. So an example of that, imagine for example, the government decided that broadband was a really important issue. I mean, that this is not a true scenario, but I'm just putting one out there for you. And they decided that because broadband was essential to everyone within the UK, they felt, well, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to nationalise broadband to make sure that it's free for everyone. So what they would do is they would take it out of control of the people that essentially are the broadband providers who make money off it. So people like BT, okay, people like EE, TalkTalk, all of those people that provide broadband who make lots of money off it. And what they would do, the government, instead of those people owning it, the government themselves would own it in the public interest because they think it would be better if no one made loads and loads of money off it and the government controlled it, because they might believe, for example, you could get better standard speeds for everyone if you nationalised it. So that's what nationalisation is, where something goes under the control from one person owning it to make lots of money to the government owning it in order to try and make the industry better. Now, after the war, this is important because a number of people were really, really worried that some of the industries that were doing badly in the 1930s would do really, really badly again. So if we think of things like coal and steel, we know that they were two industries in the 1930s that were doing very, very badly. And people thought, well, actually, look, if the government don't intervene in this and put some money into them after the war, then they're going to do really badly again, and we're going to have a return to the depression of the 1930s. So Labour did things like that. They took over things like the coal industry. Okay, they also took over some transport, and they took over things like the development of electricity. Some really important things that they thought it would be in the public's interest if they owned them rather than private companies. Now, the reason they do it is because A, they think that it will make it more efficient, so they think they'll do a better job than private companies. B, they think they'll be able to create a lot of jobs for people if they put money into it to create those positions for people. And C, if you've got things like coal, which people used at the time to burn fires in their houses, okay, power factories, or transport that a lot of people use, the government believes, well, actually, people shouldn't be paying more than they should for those services. They should be paying the bare minimum. And therefore, if you nationalise them, you can make sure the public always gets the lowest price. So that's what they did, and they nationalised a number of industries, and actually really successfully. They did a really good job of this on the whole, okay? The next video, I'm going to talk to you about how they did this. But nationalisation, the big important thing you need to remember, it's the idea, okay, that you take a business away from being owned by a private individual, and instead it's owned by the government.